This is the Risky Roads podcast, the only Nebraska ball podcast, and we are coming to you after the Penn State game. Got a lot to talk about: Maryland, Iowa, Penn State, how the season is going on overall, and we will see what our thoughts are. And also, don't forget to leave us a 5-star review, only 5 stars, but make sure you leave a review because when we get to 100 5 stars, we will read every review that you guys leave, be a part of the podcast, and be a part of Nebraska basketball.
Risky Roads.
We said we're going to change the podcast to normal if we ever get the tournament win.
Get ready to change their name.
So, since we've done our last podcast, we have played Maryland and lost to them 72-74. We played Iowa, lost to them 84-93, and we played Penn State last night, or 2 nights ago, I guess. We won 70-64. So, do you want to talk about that, or are we going to do who gets a free pass for 6 months?
I mean, I feel like we should recap Maryland and Iowa, and then we could do that and then go Penn State.
Okay.
Something like that.
So, Maryland and Iowa. Obviously, after those 2 losses, we weren't feeling great. But, I don't know, what did you think about those? Were those bad losses? Were those acceptable losses? What do you think?
I feel like Iowa was a worse loss than Maryland. I don't know. Like, Maryland, I feel like we played all right, and like we kept them to 74 points.
I mean, it was just really close.
Yeah, it was just really close. And Iowa, like, giving up 93 points, that's just terrible. Like, you can't do that.
Yeah, that's way too many. And it wasn't like they shot okay, but it wasn't like they shot great.
Yeah, that's so many points.
Yeah, I think Maryland actually shot really well. Let's see if I can find it. So the one thing about Maryland, I mean, actually, the last 3 games has been rebounding. So Bruno Fernando had 17 rebounds in that game. That's like Hassan Whiteside numbers. He had 6 turnovers. Wow. But let's see. They were 47% on threes, and they only shot. Yeah, they shot a little bit worse from 2, actually. But 47% from threes is pretty dang good. I mean, they only shot 17, but that's still really good. In that game, we shot 41%, so it wasn't too bad. But the thing that really hurt us was the free throws. We only shot 65% and missed 8 of them. So that was pretty disappointing. But I feel like we're not that bad of a free throw team either. It just kind of happened.
We're kind of like off and on, I feel like. Some days we'll be doing well, and then others just miss a bunch. I don't know, it's weird.
Yeah, so, yeah, how upset were you with that Maryland loss? I wasn't very upset. I mean, we were like...
I'm more upset now that we lost to Iowa, too. You know, like, I don't know. Because it was like, okay, just one. We'll hopefully beat Iowa, and then we'll beat Penn State. But then when you lose 2 back-to-back, then you look back at Maryland and say we really needed to win that game.
Yeah, I still think, like, those were 2 good teams. They were on the road, and it's almost like if you go 1-1, that's, like, beneficial and it helps you. more than it hurts you. It's not even neutral.
Yeah.
But if you lose 2, then it hurts you a little bit, but not that much, just because they're like really good teams. Or not, they're not like really good, but when it's on the road, it just like doesn't hurt you that much. For reference, like the way that they rank things now is so weird. Like honestly, it doesn't quite make sense, but we moved up after like the Maryland and Iowa losses, I'm pretty sure.
Well, not
Iowa.
Some things,
we moved up in net ranking, which is like the main one that they use to determine quadrants.
It moved us out of the top 25.
What? Well, yeah, in like the AP poll.
Yeah.
But they don't use, like, the committee doesn't use that. It's kind of more of a human ranking.
Yeah.
But, yeah, it's just kind of crazy. Like, even Penn State, they lost by 6, and they cap these losses. Like, the computer only looks at it as if you lost by 20, you lost by 10. If you lost by 15, you lost by 10. If you lose by 5 or anything under 10, then it's, like, actually the number that you lost or won by. But it caps it at 10, and Penn State lost by 6, and they moved up 3 spots from 77 to 74.
That's funny.
And they're 7 and 9, and they're like in the top 4th of all NCAA teams. So it's like if you play a tough schedule, it like really helps you. I think in net ranking we're still like 14 or 13 right now. It's pretty crazy.
Yeah, it's crazy.
And I mean, when's the last time? Obviously, we're not ranked in like AP and stuff, but when's the last time that we were 14th or in the top 20 at this point in the season? Like, we're still doing pretty okay here. I didn't check after Penn State. They may have not. Well, they probably updated it, but hopefully it helped us. I guess it helped them. Can it really help both teams? Like, that's weird. That'd be weird if it could do that. But I want to get into a little bit of like individual players on that. So, Palmer took by far the most shots in that game, which, I mean, isn't surprising. He was 7 for 19 from the field and 3 of 10 from 3. He did make most of his free throws, though. Well, 9 for 13, I guess that's not super great.
That's all right, though. For him,
But yeah.
He's shooting like 80%, 79% something.
Yeah, so he scored 26 on 19 shots, which actually isn't terrible. And he didn't have too many turnovers, but it seemed like, I mean, he missed a lot of shots, and there were probably times when he could have gotten a better shot for somebody else.
Well, it's just when he goes on long stretches of like 4 quick shots in a row that are all bad shots and they're misses, and then that's when it like really hurts you.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, nobody else. Roby was like 3 for 7, which isn't great. He had 11 points. Man. Yeah, I mean, nobody else just took that many shots. Everybody was... I don't really remember what what the offense was like in that game. I don't know.
I feel like it was just kind of like a slower
Pace.
using 25 seconds every shot clock type of game. I don't know.
But still, they got 9 more shots than we did. And that's just so difficult. Like, if you could just jack up a 3, even from half court, 9 times. Like, I always remember we were at Nebraska basketball camp, and Lance Jeter made, 5 out of 7 half-court shots.
Yeah.
I think those guys could make a surprising number if you let them. So if you just let them do that 9 times and they make 2 of them, we win that game. So all those extra possessions that they get from offensive rebounds or turnovers or something, it just hurts us so much when you don't have as many possessions as the other team.
Yeah. Well, in the past 3 games, we've been kind of priding ourselves on 3-point percentage defense. In the past 3 games, we've given up, Maryland was 45%.
Yeah.
No, they were
49.
47% from
Yeah.
3. And then Iowa was 45. And then I guess
Penn State was lower. We did an okay job on them.
yeah, Penn State was still 39, though, which isn't great.
Yeah. That is
For
above
defense-wise.
average, yeah.
Yeah, you want to hold them at least under 35.
Yeah, 35 is basically average.
And then at the same time for Maryland and Iowa, we were shooting terrible from 3-point.
Well, Maryland, we shot 40%, so it was
Really?
okay. But that was the key to Iowa. We can switch over to that game. So Iowa, we shot 17%, 4 for 23.
At
That's
some
why I
point,
said it
you
was
just gotta
the
realize
same as
they're-
Jonah Bolden on his career.
At some point, you just got to realize they're not going in. You have to change your game plan.
Well, we did, because we were 0 for 8 in the second half, and we didn't, like, shoot one for the last 8 minutes. But it's just so hard to do that when, like, they don't have to guard you, and then... But, yeah, it was...
I mean, how many of those 23, though, were Palmer just shooting something stupid? Probably 8?
No.
5?
No.
Possibly.
Palmer was 0 for 5, which, I mean, like, yeah, that's not great, but, I mean, he could have taken more. Copeland was 1 for 4. Allen was 1 for 4. Nana was 1 for 4. Glenn was 0 for 5. Like, he wasn't any worse than anybody else.
Yeah, that's true.
And, yeah, and in general, like, I mean, we kind of need him to take shots sometimes. Like, he's the most important player on the team.
Yeah.
Because, yeah. So, in that game, too...
Roby played really good that game, though. That was like he had, against Iowa, 17 points,
Oh, yeah.
8 for 10.
Yeah, he was really
1 for
good.
1 from 3, 9 rebounds.
Yeah, the key on that one was obviously defense. I mean, we scored 84 points, which isn't that bad.
With that many points.
But, let's see. Wow, yeah. So we had, like, 5 extra possessions, and we had 65 possessions. In the Maryland game, we had 51. So, like, that shows you how it just, like, we kind of needed to capitalize on that. Because Iowa had 59 shots. I guess not possessions, but shots that they got to put up. So, with that many possessions or shots, like, you should probably score really high because it was a fast-paced game.
It's actually interesting. Iowa's starters scored, I mean, I'm doing quick math, but almost less or pretty much the same as their bench.
Well, I mean, part of that was that, that's interesting that Bohannon didn't start because he played 35 minutes. Like, he's one of their main players. And the other thing is it not Christian McCaffrey. He's played football for Stanford. Whatever his name.
McCaffrey, though.
Yeah,
His last name.
he's like one of their... wait, is he? Because... No.
No, but...
There's somebody else who came in. He was like injured,
Yeah,
and then... Oh, maybe it was like Westcamp? I don't know.
It was him.
But yeah,
But still, 3 players in double digits and then 1 with 25. That's
yeah,
a lot
but
for
he
bench
played
points.
35 minutes, so
Yeah.
like basically, it's hard to say. I mean, what the heck? Okay, this might just be off because R. Till played 0 minutes and he started, so he did get a foul. So maybe it was like that. Yeah, that can't be right.
Yeah, something must be weird.
He played for the first 25 seconds and then he left. Unless he got injured, which I don't remember anything like that. So that might just be off. Bohannon probably just started. But, yeah, I guess Bohannon was our biggest problem. But, I mean, when you have 5 people over in double figures, I mean, that just means you're not stopping them.
Yeah.
Obviously, Tyler Cook, he's just super good. He's there, like...
Yeah, it's just efficient.
I mean, yeah, he destroys us every year. He destroys a lot of teams every year. I think he's averaging 17 points per game this year and like 9 rebounds or something.
I mean, it only says he has 16 points, but it felt like he had like 40.
Yeah,
It seemed like he scored every time he touched the ball.
Yeah, I mean, he was 4 for 6.
Yeah.
He was really efficient. And
He got to the foul line.
He got 9 free throws, 8 for 9 from the foul line.
I think that's what it is. You
And
see
overall,
him putting it in the
They
hoop
shot
so much.
90%. They shot 29 for 32 on free throws. Like, that's pretty incredible.
It's a lot of free throws.
Yeah.
So just defense was really the issue. Can't
even there,
let them get to the line, shoot 32 free throws.
Yeah, and we also had a lot of foul trouble in that game. Roby was out. Roby had 4 fouls. Tanner ended with 4 fouls. Copeland ended with 4 fouls. Palmer had 3 fouls. Watson had 4 fouls. Nana had 3 fouls. Like, we had so many fouls. They weren't too much better. It was 25 to 22, but man, that's a lot. So I guess overall, like with those games, how do you feel about the team because of those games? Do you feel a lot worse? Do you feel okay?
Well, like the Iowa game makes me feel a lot worse than like a Maryland game where at least you can see we're playing good defense. But like if we're not gonna be able to play defense, that's gonna really hurt us in the tournament.
Yeah,
That's when you really need it. But yeah.
And we didn't even have to play with Under Armour balls. which Under Armour balls are the worst if you guys don't play basketball, which I don't even play that much anymore, but